Welcome to the Communications Podcast. In this show, communications expert Janet Shahaki explores digital, virtual, physical, and cyber communications topics while showcasing other leaders in the field of business, communications, and technology. Here's your host, Janet Shahaki.
Hi there. Thanks for tuning in. I'm excited to be with you again today. So, hey, listen, I'm in a 3-part series on the 3 S's required for growth. Now, don't run out to Amazon and try to find this, or don't go to Barnes & Noble because you won't find it yet because I've not written the book and I need to do that. But I came up with this some years ago about you got to have strategy, you got to have structure, and you got to have a story. You probably have to have a lot more, but I'm a simple math kind of person. I like to just kind of simplify things. I'm not of the mindset if you just keep adding more stuff to it to complicate it that you've made it better. So I like to streamline things. And I came up strategy, structure, and story. So in the previous podcast, I spoke on strategy. And that, I walked through many things to include one of my favorite phrases that I heard years ago: where there is no vision, any road will do. And I think that's so sad when people and or businesses do not have a vision. It's important to have a vision. It's important to revisit that vision. It's important to refine that vision. I also believe it's important that people have structure, personally and professionally. Businesses have to have it. People have to have it. Now, I like to have structure with a little bit of flexibility. Structure has to be aligned to support the strategy. Structure has to be aligned to support the vision. I've been in organization. I have consulted with organizations that have a vision much larger than what their structure can support. And I think one of the worst things that can happen is people come to the table with all these grandiose ideas. Listen, a grandiose idea is just a grandiose idea. Does it support the strategy? Does it reinforce our vision? Does it align? Otherwise, you just got some big crazy idea. And let me tell you something, grandiose ideas can cost a lot of money. Grandiose ideas can cost a lot of time. So that strategy's got to be realistic, especially in today's market. Like, I don't think there's the market appetite for things that are not realistic, right? Then you look at structure. What structure do we need in this department? What structure do we need in this business? What's the processes that we need? The processes that we needed at my company, Jansen, when we first started are not the processes we need today. I mean, the IT requirements that we had when I started the company was like, where's the power cord to plug in my computer? Where's the printer? And back then we had fax machines. Like, that was it. Oh, we had wireless. That was it. That's all I needed. Oh my gosh, now you have to have compliance documents for NIST, and you got to have that, and CMMC level 1, 2, 3, 5, on and on and on. It's just because of the nature of the work that we do as a government contractor, the structural requirements are more significant. Well, guess what? That stuff costs money. So as you think about growing, you've got to look at what structure is going to be required as I grow. I know people that, own like a franchise, and they think about, they wanted to extend, they want to make a franchise out of their business. They want to extend that. Well, do you have the structure? Do you have the systems? Do you have the services? Do you have the people that are going to carry your values at that new location if you're not there all the time? Let me tell you what happened years and years ago. I expanded Jansen into another part of the country down south, and I hired all local people, and they were great people. They were fantastic people, but I didn't choose to move there. And so no one that was up here in our Virginia office went down there to help get that office off the ground. I used all new people. Worst mistake of not the worst, one of the worst mistakes of my career. And it cost me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I lost, like not recoverable. They were great people, fantastic people, but they didn't understand our structure at Jansen. And part of our structure is our culture. And part of our culture is understanding the way I want our clients to be serviced. And part of our culture is the way that we do things and the way that we think about and solve communications challenges, for our clients. And so now when I look back and I think about, oh my gosh, if I would have known then what I know now, and isn't that just kind of a fact of life? I mean, if I only knew then what I know now. But I didn't really have the structure to grow. I didn't have the structure for that office space down there in the South. And I did it because I got caught up in really wanting to accelerate our growth. And I think sometimes when we really, really want to accelerate our growth and we don't have the structure, the systems, the processes, the people, but I got caught up in growing, and I thought, oh, we're going to start growing quickly. We're going to do this. I didn't have the structure in place. I didn't have the management team. I really didn't have the financial resources, yet I did it anyway. I didn't have the systems. I didn't have the processes. How are we going to support communications between the two offices? So I look back now and go, oh, yeah, the money I could have saved. And so, but anyway, it's part of business, You learn from your mistakes. And so I don't make that mistake anymore. I make other mistakes, but I don't make that mistake. I've seen large companies, massively, massively large companies within the defense sector and the government contracting sector that they were doing fantastic as a small business. Maybe they were 12, 14 million a year, good profit margin, taking care of their people. And then boom, they decided we're going to grow. And they start growing and getting their skis out in front. Same mistake I did. Bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden things start tumbling because they don't have the structure. And so structure is really important. You got to have a structure. Again, what's our financial structure that we need to support this? What's the management team structure? And we got to have the right people. I'm a huge fan of Jim Collins and his books, Good to Great and then Great by Choice. And so much of that is about getting the right people on your bus. And I will tell you, it's very hard finding great people. When you can find great people, and I mean people that are passionate about what you're passionate about, and I mean they're all in, that's a gold mine. And I am so thankful at Jansen that I am blessed to work with some individuals that are all in. They love it. But let me tell you something. A lot of people have left Jansen over the years, and I don't flaunt that, but it's a reality. And because I was taught years ago, hire slowly and fire quickly, because either you're all in, you're in, or you're not in. Like, well, I kind of can't decide. You're either in or you're out. And how important it is to put people on your team that are all in, they're passionate, they're committed, they want to help strengthen that infrastructure, they want to help grow that bottom line. And so, there's an old saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's so, so, so very true. So when you think about your business and you think about your department or whatever God has blessed you to manage, think about, do I have the right structure? Do we have the right financial structure? Do we have the right personnel structure? What policies might have to come into play as we grow? What's that cost going to be? So there's some things to think about as you contemplate this wonderful element of the critical aspect of structure. Every business, every department, I think even every home, every person needs some structure in support of their strategy, which is really their vision. I love having a vision. I think it's really important to know a vision for retirement, a vision for this, a vision for, rearing your children. I got 3 dogs. I've got a golden doodle, a Shih Tzu, and a Chorkie, which is a Chihuahua Yorkie. And I put structure around them. Now, they don't necessarily have a vision, but my vision is to give them the best life that they can possibly have. And I love them to death. But, I have to have that structure in place for them, and they thrive in structure, and I thrive in structure. Most beings thrive in structure. Organizations thrive in structure, mixed with a little bit of flexibility, because I think that's important as well. So think about, as you have your vision, as you have what that target looks like. And I said this in the strategy podcast, but I'm going to say this one more time as I wrap up here soon. It's really, really important to stay focused. I regret the times over the years that I have allowed myself to get distracted. Sometimes people can distract you. Sometimes things going on around the world can distract you. Stay focused. Stay focused. Execute it. That doesn't mean don't have some breaks and have some fun. Good Lord, take some breaks and have some fun. But stay focused. Don't be afraid to refine that vision. Don't be afraid to reshape it if you have to, and start over again. But have that vision for your life and for your business and for your department, or whatever, like I said, whatever the good Lord has blessed you to manage. Have a structure that you can support. One of the worst things you can do is look around and see all this big infrastructure that you cannot support. I'm all for taking risks, but I believe in taking managed risks, especially in today's market. So be careful to have a structure that is balanced, and one that says, you know what, this just fits right. It's not too big, it's not too small. This is right. Worst thing you can do is compare yourself to what your competitors are doing. Worst thing you can do. Stay focused on what God's put in front of you. Focus on that structure that you need. And before you start growing like gangbusters, ask yourself, can we handle it? Can we handle it? Can we keep up the high level of service? Can we keep taking care of our employees? Do we have the systems in place? Can we afford it? So just consider all those things as you think about your strategy, as you think about your structure. And the next one and last one I'm going to do on this series is story. You're going to love it. I'm going to focus on the pillars that comprise what I like to call the story framework. If you had to give your elevator pitch, tune in the next time. I'm going to give you the 3 pillars in support of that as we talk about story. So again, thank you for listening in today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Chat soon and take care.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Communications Podcast. This show is sponsored by Jansen, which specializes in digital, virtual, physical, and cyber communications. Learn more about Jansen by visiting www.jansencom.com.